Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another live stream here. Friday night, 8 o'clock, a little bit later. A little bit later tonight on the live stream. Show your cat. I haven't seen my cat today. I think he's sleeping somewhere. He's sleeping somewhere. Newsom suing Fox. Isn't it hilarious? One of the things that they've said, they said, well, Trump's a fascist because he sues the Ann Selzer poll, because he sues 60 Minutes and CBS. Well, now Newsom's just pathetic. You want to talk about a pay attention to me? This is the second time he's suing someone, right? So Newsom now suing just Fox News for, I don't even know what they did. They lied about a phone call. Really? They lied about a phone call? This is embarrassing. Looks like the activist courts are fucked. Yeah, no. That's great news, and I think the Supreme Court snuffed out what they were doing. I mean, it's a Republican Supreme Court. The Supreme Court was just getting undermined anyways. They don't appreciate that. They don't appreciate being undermined like that, and those activist judges, they thought they had more power than the Supreme Court. Their only goal was to hamper Trump and make it harder for him to pass legislation that, or not, put in executive orders that was the reason that we voted him in. These are normal things. It's like, oh, they allow 500K Haitians into the country. Yeah, maybe we should deport them. And why are they even here? They're on a Biden initiative. Get them out. And then they say, well, you can't do that. Well, the Supreme Court says, yes, he can. Thoughts on Powell? Yeah, Powell's a clown who's obsessed with Trump. Powell has like this weird obsessive disorder with Trump. He hates him, but it's like this weird, like, he hates him so much you almost wonder if he like loves him. It's really strange with Powell and Trump. So I don't know. I think they're gonna have to find someone new. Powell's gonna have to do an emergency rate cut, or they're gonna have to find someone new. I know he's being replaced in 2026, but major Supreme Court wins today. Birthright citizenship needs to end. Oh yeah, but dude, if we actually understand, this is the craziest thing about the 14th Amendment. Go back to when this was put in place. It's like you look at where we were in terms of immigration. We had really basically no immigration from any other countries other than Europe. So when they put the 14th Amendment in place, it was not so there could be anchor babies, and you have to use the historical context. I mean, this is serious. This is a legitimate win. It should be reinterpreted. When they put the 14th Amendment in place, it was right after the 13th Amendment, and they said, listen, we want to make sure people know slaves have their rights, and so we're putting this in place. If you were born here, you're a citizen because of the slaves. It's not about immigration. It was not about immigration when they put it in place. It was about the slaves, the 14th Amendment, the context of it. So if you understand the context of the 13th Amendment, the time period, you'll understand that the 14th Amendment is based off of slaves' rights, not immigrants' rights. There was not an immigration issue to where they had to add this rule to say anyone that migrates here from another country and has their kid here, their kid immediately is even if they're illegal, their kid is legal, is a citizen. That's not how it works. That's not what it was for. So this is a great argument that we have. Now, I don't know if the Supreme Court will actually reinterpret it, but they need to. And they need to retroactively reinterpret it as well. But if you look into that, it's pretty remarkable how they've tried to like co-opt this weird, like, oh, it says it here, so this is what it means. Anyone born in the United States is automatically a citizen. No. That was interpreted in a way that was based on slavery ending. It was not interpreted in a way where we've got all these people coming to the United States having their kids here, and then we're like, well, the kids now have to be citizens. That's not what the interpretation was. All right, let me get to some of these. President Trump deserves 8 more years. Trump 2028. Now we can run Trump in red states. Activist judge can't stop us. Run Trump in red states. Yeah, I understand you like the Trump 2028. I get it, man. I understand it. But I appreciate it. Con Hair, I appreciate it. Did you see the exposed Jaguar Gator 9 made about you over a year ago? YouTube randomly recommended it to me. Oh yeah, I saw that back when it came out. I think that was animosity driven. I had just passed him in subscribers, but you know, I wanted to take the high road. And nowadays you've got Chat GPT writing all these scripts for people, but they want to come after me with some, oh, you said a too few lines from Wikipedia, and then they want to try and take my channel down, and it was a cancel attempt that failed. That's what it was. One illegal plus one illegal equals one baby illegal deport. No, I agree 100%. That's why the 14th Amendment needs to be reinterpreted. And I might do a deep dive video on it, honestly, because I was going to do a video like a few months ago, I forgot, on the 14th Amendment. Why? But we have the historical context on our side for it to be reinterpreted. It's crazy when you look into it. They're basically saying, oh, this is just a blanket law, and they use the historical modern context to try and enforce it, but no, this was based off of something else. So I mean, it is a complicated thing, though. Everyone's talking about Zoran Mondani. Yeah, this is the big stuff. Reports confirm centrifuges at Fordo were completely destroyed. Conversion center at Estevan also destroyed as well. No, I'm drinking water. I'm drinking water. Yeah, there's a bunch of Trump clips from today. Trump was like holding, it felt like 3 different press conferences. Just tons of Trump clips. You would love Predictive History Channel. Yeah, I do watch some of the history channels, Manjor Z, and you know, some of those guys are good. Iran situation. Yeah, I think Trump was kind of forced to say what he said about the Iran stuff. I'm gonna get to it. Your super chat. Oh, my bad. Thank you for the super chats. If Democrats win in 2028, they can revert the 14th. Yeah, no. You're right. This is a temporary thing when it comes to the executive order on it on the 14th. So that's why it would have to be the amendment would have to be reinterpreted by the Supreme Court. So I don't know the exact legality of it, but that's really what it is. Have you heard about Panama, Pan Bondi labeling Mexico as a foreign adversary to the U.S. along with Russia, China, Iran? Do you think they are building up an airstrike for an exit? No, I don't know if they'll airstrike Mexico. Maybe. I mean, it would be a targeted cartel mission. If it's against the cartels, it's against the cartels. You know, that's going to be a mess either way, no matter what, when it comes to something like that. Because the problem is you go in and there's really no clean solution. I mean, you can wipe some of the cartels out, but we don't know we can't predict the exact future of Mexico and how their leadership will, because then you create a power vacuum. Now, maybe it'll be good. I mean, you never really know, but you almost liken it to a regime change in the Middle East. Now, this would be easier because they border us, so the logistics of it would be a lot easier in terms of getting rid of some of these cartels. But it is almost like it's almost like a regime change in the sense of, you know, the cartels basically run Mexico. So it is a problem. Make America great again. Yeah, I appreciate the donation, man. Voter ID in California, we are red for real. No, I don't think so. California is too liberal. I mean, I agree. Voter ID would probably certainly help at least a little bit. And California has some huge areas that are conservative. I mean, it's the biggest conservative state technically based on population, but it's also the biggest state in general in population. I mean, I think Cali could get a little bit closer, but it's just too far away, you know, even with voter ID. I mean, the voter ID stuff, it's impossible to say how much shenanigans there really are, but I would be shocked if there were that much shenanigans that would make California close. I mean, that would be like massive cheating if they installed voter ID in California and then Republicans won it. Yeah, that's... Did you see a reporter ask Trump about 20? No, I didn't see that. I'll take a look at that.
It's monumental, Brett. This 6-3 ruling restores American democracy. So President Trump, over the last 5 months, had more nationwide injunctions issued against him than were issued in the 100 years of the 20th century. Most of these nationwide injunctions have come from a small handful of very hard left district court judges in just 4 or 5 cities like Los Angeles, Boston, San Francisco, Chicago. No one in America consented to be ruled by a district court judge in Chicago or Manhattan or Los Angeles or San Francisco. They elected one American president to run the executive branch. Today, the Supreme Court has said President Trump is the one in charge of the executive branch. The Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security. That is how our democracy works. Every 4 years, we go to the polls and we elect a president. We do not elect a Marxist judge in a far left city to rule over us.
Right, he's right, but it's all about the amount of injunctions that they've had against Trump, and that was really their plan. I think there's going to be a big thing that comes out, possibly investigating it in terms of, the Democrats knew that this was a way for them to try and impede Trump, and they really wanted to do it. Will socialism work in New York City? I think it's going to be really light socialism. I would imagine it's not going to work too well. I mean, socialism, the general concept of it doesn't work because it's very similar to communism. It requires people to be robots. Now, it's not as bad as communism. It's like a neutered version of it. And there's certain things that they can kind of pick and choose to go after. Some of the stuff is going to be more socialist. There's going to be a lot of still, even if Mondani wins, because of the structure of New York City, a lot of it's going to be, it has to be capitalist. That's how they generate revenue, is through already ridiculously high taxes on rich people. It's the financial capital. So it's a huge amount of money they generate through taxes. So you have to keep the people there that are going to generate them. So there's only so much you can do. We should unalive the cartel in Mexico based. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the cartels. I think I would support it if it's done properly. I think Trump probably wants to do it. It just depends on the timing. Enjoyed your update video. Yeah, I appreciate that. Socialism becomes communism. Yeah, it's like the baby brother, but there is a little bit of a difference in terms of the amount of control that is exuded by the government with communism versus socialism. But rent freeze alone would be awful for New York's economy. Yeah, well, what they're gonna say. They're gonna say rent freeze for the lower working class. Certain apartments. I'm sure that's not gonna be a rent freeze for high scale apartments or anything like that. But I agree. Rent freezes in general are a nightmare. If they think the quality of apartments in New York City is terrible, it's going to be putrid. Just because if they have rent freezes, there's going to be no incentive for any type of fix to any of those. Well, why would any landlord fix any of the apartments if there's a rent freeze? Doesn't make any sense to. But I'm sure they've thought about all of this, and we'll see what happens with Mondani. Either way, I just think it's crazy. The dude was born in Uganda, and New York City, for whatever New York City is at this point, it's conjumbled. There's a bunch of migrants, whatever. It's just like, it's crazy that someone that became a citizen 8 years ago can become the mayor. One of 3 steps for Trump 2028 is to prove the 2020 election was unconstitutional. Yeah, I know there's been stuff that's come out about that. We'll have to see in terms of like something about China with mail-in ballots and manipulation. Steven, I appreciate it. Thanks. And they're under the jurisdiction and under the jurisdiction thereof means not under the jurisdiction of another country. Slaves were under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Well, they had sensed that, I mean, it was because of slavery. That's why it was put into place. It was not put into place because of immigration. Because they sensed that people were going to try and get around the 13th Amendment. So it was a fortified to make sure that, I mean, that's why it was put in place. That's the reason there was the 14th Amendment come after. It was not because of immigration. It's not like they were having a problem with immigrants coming in and then saying, well, I mean, it was because of the slavery issue. Congrats, Joe. You answered all the questions. Yeah, I know what you're referencing. It's the year anniversary of that. It's a year anniversary of that debate with Biden. Where's that photo? Here it is. This photo that somebody took. It's the debate going on. I mean, this ended Biden. He ended it himself. He ended it himself. I don't know what they had Biden on. He was really, early on in that debate, he was just lost. Just completely lost. That was a year ago today, the 27th. So I guess it was on a Thursday night then. Imagine all of Trump's policies pan out. Well, I mean, as a president, you're not going to have every single policy pan out 100%. But the main ones, I mean, the main ones, I think, is the deportation and the deportation, ending the wars, hopefully not restarting the Middle Eastern conflict. Situation with Canada, pretty iron, pretty cut and dry. Trump was mad with the way Canada is operating. They're imposing some type of tax on technology companies in the United States. He wants it gone, and then they'll start negotiating with Canada again, and it'll be gone. I mean, it's just because Canada has no leverage. It's not the same thing, but like what happened with the European Union. You threaten this stuff, and these countries just act. It's just to force action by these countries. There's a tax that he doesn't want on, so he tweets this out and says, "We're going to be putting a random tariff on you. We'll tell you guys in a week," and then Canada takes off whatever they had on. A cameraman or someone said Trump 2028 randomly. Oh, that's what it was. Sean, what's up? The whale enters. What's up, Sean? 10-month membership. That might be the longest membership out of anyone. 10 months. I've seen a few people at like 6 or 7 months. The thing is I never really advertise memberships because I rarely have any membership only videos. The only time I'll have a membership only video is if it's just like a 9/11 video that can't be monetized. But I think there's only 3 or 4 of them. Reagan said anyone can come from anywhere and become an American, including Mondani. Do you disagree with Reagan? Well, yeah, I disagree with that assessment 100%. But on top of that, Reagan isn't dealing with the type of immigration we're dealing with. You think Reagan's opinion would be the same if he saw the immigration rates in 2025? If Greenland has trillions worth of resources under the ice, isn't that a great way to help the debt in the future? Or is it just not? Yeah, it's not that simple, unfortunately. I mean, they do have a ton. They probably have, not even within the ice. This is just on the coastlines, probably like 3 or 4 trillion. But the problem is the cost of extracting them, the time. This is not something that just gets done. So yeah, I mean, eventually it can definitely help the debt, but to what degree, I don't know. Because again, it costs a lot of time to set up mining infrastructure, and mining actually costs it's going to cost a decent amount of money as well, especially if there's really, because in Greenland right now there's not much set up at all. That's why Greenland is trying to do these deals with like the UK and China to set up mining operations, and so. But it isn't that simple. It's not like, well, we'll just take it and there's $7 trillion and there goes the debt, But technically it could help. I mean, if we acquired Greenland for free or for like 20, $30 billion and then set up mining and it costs like 300, 400 billion total and we extract like 5 or 6 billion or trillion in resources over like 10 years, 20 years, I mean, that, that could certainly help. But it wouldn't be like a straight pay for it. Thank you for the $10 donation, Vince. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see if we can get this this press conference by Trump.
Why not? Why not Canada, by the way?
Why?
I mean,
Because this is about a different subject right now. This is right now actually a much more important subject. We just ended a war that was going on for 30 years where 6 million people died. So don't ask me a trade question on Canada.
Yeah, that war with Congo. Are we getting cobalt for that? We should get cobalt. I don't know if we're gonna get anything for that, but I did see that. Rwanda and Congo. The NYC in the late 70s, early 80s had a lot of crime. Yeah, no, relative to even then, it's you know, with Eric Adams, and I saw crime was at like a recent 15, 20-year low. But you could imagine, I mean, even with just a highly densely populated area, you're skating on thin ice. You bring a socialist in because you know he is going to be extremely light and lenient on crime when you bring someone like that in. And it's just to me, I think it's a when you're in a big city with a highly densely populated area, it's non-negotiable. You have to be very tough on crime because otherwise it'll immediately spiral. There's just too many people living close to each other. There's too many people that you know, with how much it costs in New York City, the racial demographics in New York City, a lot of different I mean, you have to be extremely tough on crime, especially in a place like New York City. So you bring a socialist in who says, well, the cops are racist and we should defund them. I mean, you're asking for serious problems. Trump not running anymore. He can't. People on YouTube acting like typing something makes it a reality. Yeah, I don't think Trump really wants to run in 2028. There's really no reason to talk about it. The only time to really talk about it would be like if Republicans did extremely well in the midterms and Trump had a really good approval rating, then I could see it possibly getting brought up with someone like Trump. But the age is a big problem, and just even right now, it's like it's just not feasible. Yeah, well, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the assassination attempt. That was July 13th. So that's coming up as well. Now, this is a big thing. The thing is nobody really cares about this type of stuff. Like when Trump ended, or when the administration at least ended the India-Pakistan skirmish, like nobody cared about it, unfortunately, but
because it's the signing of a peace agreement between Congo and Rwanda to end a conflict that has been going on for 30 years. And there has been many mediation, facilitation in the past, but none of them succeeded. And we believe that it's because of your leadership and your steadfast commitment to this process, with also a new approach of economic integration, regional economic integration, which is important to allow Rwanda and DRC working together, because this is a very rich region with cross-border trade, with minerals, with natural wealth. So with the US standing side by side with Rwanda and DRC, we believe that we will achieve a long-time peace.
wow, so the foreign minister says the only reason this was achieved was because of Trump, and it had been going on for 30 years. I mean, this is big stuff. That's not the press conference.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead. You tell me when it gets.
Well, I don't even think Biden was in this room. I mean, it's insane. Saw your channel update. Views are probably tougher because lots of Trump voters tuned out of politics after he won. Had he lost, they'd probably be watching more. Well, that's always how it is. You know, if you're on the offensive, which is for me, it would be if the opposing party was in it. You know, it would probably be a bit better because there's, you know, you just critique the opposing party, but now you're on the defensive. You're trying to defend the administration, or you know, you want to support Trump. So, yeah, I mean, there's a number of reasons why it happens, honestly, but a lot of it is just the algorithm. How does Sean the Whale have 2,300 XP points? Probably from the donation. Is that the guy who said, "Why are you gay?" Remember that clip? Mm-hmm. 4753 U.S. Senate officially declines just now to block Trump from further military action against Iran. Yeah, so Trump will be able to strike him. You know, Trump's had some statements about Iran and possibly talking about striking them again. I mean, you kind of have to say that, though.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead.
On Iran.
You tell me when it gets boring. Okay.
On Iran. If Iran.
Are you from Iran?
No, I'm not from Iran. I'm from the UK. But if the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely.
And have you had any conversations?
Turned out to be unbelievable. But, you know, our incredible flyers and I call them the shots, these guys are unbelievable. Think, from 52,000 feet, they hit the equivalent of a refrigerator door. They actually hit it right in the center, so it's much smaller than that. And just bomb after bomb going deeper, deeper, blowing up. Incredible, incredible thing. I don't know if you heard the general. He was very impressive. Raisin Cane. You know, he's the one that beat ISIS for me. And he did it in a matter of weeks.
Raisin Cane. All right, I'll go to Eric. I mean... Yep, Trump can continue the military action on Iran if he wants to. That just came out. The Senate votes on it. Texas banned China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea from buying land in their state. What's so shocking about bombing Iran again? Totally consistent with narrative. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's surprised by it. Well, dude, it doesn't even matter if he actually would do it or not. You have to keep that type of posture. If you want them to not enrich uranium, you're not going to come out and be soft about your next action against them. He said if they keep enriching, we're going to do it again. You have to say that. You have to say that. I mean, either way, it's kind of a muddled situation because it's like, well, they could be enriching under the table. We don't know exactly. But it doesn't really matter, honestly, even if they're enriching. You know, if all of their centrifuges got destroyed, if all of their conversion facilities got destroyed, it's going to be very hard for them. They're going to have to rebuild all of that. You know, I am concerned that this could be a longer situation just because right now it's on, you know, it's a ceasefire, and you know Israel is going to say possibly in a few months, well, they're making that, you know, they're racing to get a bomb, and so that'll be something that Trump's going to have to handle because it's like you can tell the situation's probably not over. That's why the original ceasefire was so shocking. I mean, we didn't think Iran would agree to it, but there were reports that both Israel and Iran wanted the ceasefire and went to Trump. No country should be allowed to buy on U.S. soil. I know, that's like, shouldn't they ban everyone? Shouldn't they ban every country from buying U.S.? It's like buying it's like annexing territory in the United States. I know it's not exactly that, but it kind of feels like that. Are the smartphones and other consumer electronics still excluded from tariffs with China? Um, I would imagine they would be still excluded because I didn't see anything to where they changed that policy. You know, they obviously they were getting pressured and lobbied by Apple to do that. Hey, man, what's up from Iran? Talk about something else. Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you, but it is a situation that might come up again. When is the date the big beautiful bill is going to be decided in the Senate, whether it finally passes or not? You think you heard a session on July 4th? Yeah, that would be very patriotic. July 4th, they pass it. Who knows? I mean, I haven't heard anything about it getting passed in the Senate. What the chances are? I know there's a lot of senators that went through it and potentially changed stuff. They're trying to take out an initiative within it that allows the federal lands to be sold, which I think is dumb, considering it's not even that much money they would generate from it. But the thing is the government does own a ton of federal land. Because I had heard in the background that they were going to do something like that. I didn't know it was going to get so much people against it. I mean, there were so many people that are against that, selling federal land, because the government has a F ton of federal land. Did you see Grok 4 Elon post about it? No, I didn't see the Grok 4 post. Did 3.5 come out?
So Canada put a charge on some of our companies, and Canada's been a very difficult country to deal with over the years. You know, we hear Canada, we have a great relationship with the people of Canada, but it's been very difficult. And they put a charge, and they were a little bit early. We found out about it. So, and we have all the cards. We have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad, but they have economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it, but they did something with our tech companies today trying to copy Europe. You know, they copied Europe. It's not going to work out well for Europe either, and it's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. And so I said, we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act. Okay?
Is there anything Canada can do to change your mind about this situation?
Well, no, they put a tax on companies that were American companies that they shouldn't, a very severe tax. And yeah, I guess they could remove it. They will, but I don't really, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. We have all the cards. We have all the cards. You know, we do a lot of business with Canada, but relatively little. They do most of their businesses with us. And when you have that circumstance, you treat people better. They've had farmers that are getting like 300, 400, 200% in tariffs. Nobody's ever seen anything like.
Yeah, so he got mad at a certain thing that they put on, like a technology tax. So I think that's going to be going away, I would imagine, and then they'd be resuming negotiations. This is what Trump does, you know, with these things. He did it with the EU in a similar spot. I think he did it with another country as well, where, you know, he'll threaten countries with a timeline, and then the countries will do what they say. Grok 4 AI to be released just after July 4th. Wow. Boy, they just released Grok 3, so that's surprising that's coming that quickly. I thought they just released the 3.5, or maybe are they skipping 3.5? Daily Dono, Chris, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Trump's approval, it depends what you look at. I mean, composite approval, probably like 46, I would say. But it depends on which pollster you look at. Some are more accurate than others. You could argue it should be higher, but the Republican ones have Trump a lot higher. The liberal ones, some of the liberal ones have Trump really low. Elon's been posting about his Starlink all day. Yeah, I mean his account is just it's just you know, awareness for his product.
The way people act, you know, you have a guy in there that with the stroke of a pen could lower interest rates and save us hundreds of billions of dollars a year. But he's a stupid person. You know, it's very interesting. I'm not sure if he doesn't understand it, because you should be able to understand it. It's sort of 101 economics, but I'm not sure of that. But think of it, with the stroke of a pen, he talks about costs. We can save $600 billion, maybe even, these are nice numbers for you, right? $900 billion, $950 billion by lowering interest rates. And it's really just more of a paper movement. It's not like you're not cutting anything, you're not cutting jobs, it's just interest rates. And we're number 40 or 44, number 45. Some places that you wouldn't believe that, you know, I don't want to be disparaging, but they pay a lower interest rate than the United States of America. And without us, everything blows up. You know, we sort of control the world in that sense. But we have a guy that's just a stubborn mule and a stupid person that is making a big mistake. He's making a mistake. And it lasts for years, because when you do the debt, now, I've instructed my people not to do any debt beyond 9 months or so. Get this guy out. And whoever is in there will lower rates. If I don't, if I think somebody's going to keep the rates where they are or whatever, I'm not going to put them in. I'm going to put somebody that wants to cut rates. There are a lot of them out there. And I said this morning, a lot of the business shows today were saying, you know, Trump is right. He should be cutting rates.
Trump, what happened is now they've turned because the inflation's been down for a prolonged period. You know, Trump has wanted the rate cuts ever since he entered, but with what's happened in terms of inflation, in terms of some of these other indicators relative to the trade deals, I mean, even now, most people are saying they need to happen, and this is getting ridiculous. And I think Powell changed his tune, actually, at his last hearing, which happened this past week, because the data suggests right now, with the inflation where it is, and we need a kickstart, that the interest rates should be happening. So, I mean, obviously, it all relates back to inflation. You know, if you drop the interest rates, technically, you could get a little bit of a raise of inflation, but if inflation is under control, that's when they need to be dropped. So they should be dropped. I mean, inflation was higher when they dropped them in September. They did 2 drops. It went down by 0.5, not 0.25, 0.5 in September. So it's looking like we could get 3 cuts this year. But no, it is possible. And it's possible they do an emergency cut. Powell's taking so much heat. It looks like a great time for a cut. I wouldn't be surprised if they do an emergency cut in mid-July. Mean Gene, thank you. $100. Another $100 dono. What a week for conservatives. Yeah, it's definitely great. I don't know if they're going to add Trump to Mount Rushmore. That's something I know some conservatives are pushing for. You know, we'll see what he does his second term. There is an area where you can technically add another head. It's like on the front face, I think. Do you think inflation is going to keep rising? You look at trueflation, it's worrying. Trueflation is mainly based off of, if there's big shifts in trueflation, it's based off of the energy. I mean, look at what happened with recently. There's also a lag to it. So you had the oil spike. That was probably what it is. What is it at, like 2.3, 2.4? It's because of the oil. That's why. For the most part, it'd be because of the oil, and then it'll come back down. Look at crude oil right now. Core inflation higher than predicted? No. Trump's first 4 months, 3 of the months, the number was lower than the projected number, the inflation, the core inflation. And the reason is because he disrupted the market so much with the tariffs, but obviously it worked because we're getting tariff money and we still have the inflation down and we just hit an all-time new high in the S&P 500. But this last reading, but even though the last reading was higher, it was still lower than the expected. If you look at it, if you want to be technical about it. But I mean, the point is that inflation is at this point well under control. You know, even with the trueflation spiking, that's because the energy, the core doesn't factor in energy. Look at Trump 2028 clip. I'll see if it's on here. There's the peace agreement. Yeah, I mean, Trump's going to talk about that peace agreement in Africa, but unfortunately, you know, none of the normies are going to care.
No problem. But all the stuff that goes into intake and processing of illegals, you're seeing this put up. This is all 24 hours. 24 hours from now, you're going to see even more. And by Tuesday, this will be able to have intake of illegals.
And you've thought of everything. Okay, so there are 4 gigantic tents. Let's come on over here, Governor. And people are thinking, okay, you're in the middle of the Everglades. It's hot. That would explain why you've got this bank of air conditioners here.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be, illegals will come in, they'll be processed. There'll be places for them to be housed. You'll have an ability for food. You'll have an ability for them to consult legal rights if they have that, because there is a process that's involved with this. So this is really everything. This is going to be a self-contained little area. And then, of course, you also have stuff for the staff that work here. So we've got laundry facilities, we've got showers, we've got, obviously, there you see the shower and bath facilities.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Where do you go to get a bunch of bathrooms like that?
Well, so this is being done by the Division of Emergency Management. So when we have a hurricane, like we would actually have people stage here for hurricane response normally, anyways, but we have it. When we have all the linemen come in to do the power,
that was ironic.
We have to set up little areas for them. And so you have all this type of stuff. So this is not our...
But now it looks like DeSantis is setting up some illegal encampment centers or something. Somebody was talking about the Q4 and how it's setting up. Yeah, Q4 looks great right now. Q4 looks great. I mean, we really need to see some action, though, with these altcoins, man. We need to see some action, hopefully in July. Hopefully in July some of them start to move. But I know back into Q3, Q4, I mean, it is setting up to where we're getting the rate cuts. We have the low inflation. Hopefully there may be the geopolitical stuff aligns. Although the geopolitical stuff, as long as it's not crazy, we can still have a bull run with, situations happening in the world. But, I mean, imagine you get some type of ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, now you're really talking... North Korea beach resorts. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good video. That was a luxury resort. NYC proved voting should be aged 21 instead of 18. Yeah, I mean, well, as a Republican, you want it as high as possible. Well, I don't know, actually. Now younger people are being more conservative. But yeah, no, certainly. The thing is they do the 18 to 29, it's very liberal, but 18 to 24 is more conservative, or it's at least a bit more conservative than like 25 to 29. Trump's accomplishing so much so early, he may be able to devote a whole year to legislation, corruption, stock trading, and term limits. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We can't really think that far ahead right now. Let's just, even this Israel-Iran situation, it's probably going to kick up again later this year, I'm just saying, because, I mean, unless Iran really placates to the no enrichment, I think they're probably going to still be enriching. I guess it depends what their capacity is in terms of how many of their facilities got destroyed. Maybe they cannot produce a nuke. I don't know. California gas tax increases 65 cents on Tuesday, $5 a gallon. Well, that gas is just going to be more expensive then in California, unfortunately. You know, they're really trying to wean people off of gas in liberal states. You know, it's their initiative, the green initiative with the emissions of the car fumes, I guess. But I mean, this shit already costs so much in California. The cost of living is so bad, and now you've got gas taxes on vehicles. Did you watch the Trump video, Daddy's Home, NATO video? Yeah, I saw it. Jose Padilla. Remember that? Yeah, they got really angry. That was when Vance called him Jose. I think Vance honestly just messed up his name. But nonetheless, it was funny. Yeah, Iran claimed victory in this. Trump canceled all sanction relief. Yeah, this is not over, man. I don't know what you're saying. It's over. This is not over. Of course it's not over. It's the Middle East. You know, they're talking about doing some type of two-state solution with Palestine and Israel, but it's going to be with the United States recognizing parts of the West Bank as part of Israel. What happened to Bitch Bannon? The correspondent? I don't know what happened to that girl. I haven't seen her in a while on X. What chance does Trump bomb again? I'm sure there's a market for it, honestly. Fordo nuclear facility to be destroyed by July. I mean, what does that mean? Destroyed. Is it already destroyed? Nuclear deal before August, 24% chance. I don't know. I mean, I can look for that video, I guess.
So much, President Trump. Illegal crossings in the border are zero now.
Zero. Does everyone hear that? Zero. Trump 2028.
Do you intend, President Trump?
What the hell?
I like him. He's working the cameras.
With this new reality, President Trump, in the border, do you intend to engage personally with leaders from South America, not only Central America,
Sure.
in order to
I do
tackle
that anyway.
this situation in
I
a
do that
regional
anyway.
way? And if you have a perspective of meeting some
Sure.
presidents from South America, as Brazil, for example.
Well, you see, as an example, not South America, but NATO over the weekend.
Yeah.
They have great respect for our country now. They did things that nobody.
Yeah, you're saying stop with the Trump 2028. It builds unrealistic up. But I never said Trump was going to run in 2028. Obviously, Trump jokes about it, but it's not. He cannot do it because of the 12th and 22nd. But look, it is what it is. He's too old, anyways. I mean, they're already talking about Vance. I mean, Vance. You could tell that Vance, even before Trump was inaugurated, was very likely going to be the 2028 Republican candidate or have a massive advantage because very likely going to get the Trump endorsement. You have the MAGA endorsement. You know, you're not going to beat that. Especially Vance is already the VP as it is, so he's already debated. He's already got name recognition. If you met Trump, what would you say to him? I mean, with Trump, the thing is with Trump, he meets so many people. It's like in a short period of time, it's kind of tough to. You don't really want to ask him anything in depth because you don't want to come off as ill-mannered, so I'd ask him about, you know, I'd ask him about Greenland or something. What happened with Pence? I mean, Pence is an old rhino. Pence is an old rhino, yeah. He supported Trump's strikes on Iran. No surprise there. Not referring to me. Yeah, but I mean, you're not gonna get the chat to stop it. The people are gonna say what they're gonna say on the internet. There's a dude that's obsessed with Trump 2028 in my chat. He comes in it from now and again. Trump will end Gaza in a week, he said today. Yeah, it seems like they both want to negotiate, so that could potentially be ended. But it is going to be the U.S. probably recognizing areas in the West Bank. I mean, because why else would Israel agree to end it? But I mean, you know, this has turned into a terrible look for Israel. So I think Israel probably needs an off ramp of whatever this is at this point. Steve Bannon mentioned he has a plan for a third term. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to think about stuff. That was a while ago when Steve Bannon said that. That was like, I remember that was like 3 months ago. That wasn't recently. I mean, Bannon tends to have good scoops, but Israel has killed everyone there, so they're ready for it. I mean, yeah, the entire Gaza Strip is just obliterated. It's like that, you know, their propaganda ran out, and if it was a Trump versus Obama 2028, who do you think would win? I think Trump would win. I think Obama's lost a lot of his clout now that he's gotten older. 2024, he really didn't have much pull. I think, you know, he'd energize the Democrats for sure again, but I still think Trump would win. A lot, obviously, it depends how good Trump does in these 3 years, because that would be an incumbent situation, and the incumbents haven't done well worldwide recently. But I think that people kind of overreact to that. I think the incumbent still has an advantage. But yeah, that is true. Worldwide, the incumbents have not done well in recent elections. The GOP New York mayor candidate is not going to drop out. Yeah, that's a problem. The reason that's a problem is because he'll steal votes from Adams. I think Adams could win if he dropped out and endorsed Adams. It's going to be a weird race. 12-day war ceasefire, NATO defense spending agreement. Yeah, now they're all spending 5% of the budget. Isn't that funny? They didn't want to spend 2%. Now they're spending 5% of their total GDP on defense spending. NATO is. That was kind of a weird thing, that NATO summit. It didn't really seem like much came from that. I guess outside of that agreement, it just didn't seem like there was many clips from it. Top 3 presidents of all time. Well, it's in Lincoln, Jefferson. I mean, you don't want to say Trump, but it's like I got to include someone in my lifetime, right? I don't know. We'll see what Trump does. Is JFK up there in top 3 presidents? JFK was only president for 2 years, but now you know all the anti-Israel people are gonna, you know, JFK stood up to Israel, and but We need to worry about limiting Congress terms, not longer president. Yeah, the issue is they're not going to vote for it. Why would any of those Congress? It has to be public pressure. That would be the only way. But it'd have to be immense public pressure to get them to vote on that, to limit terms. I think there is enough public pressure, although I don't know. Because they're voting themselves out if they vote on that. Do you like, I think that's supposed to say Reagan. I mean, revisionist history will say Reagan, you know, in terms of the immigration front was not good. But I don't think Reagan ever thought it was going to be like this in terms of how crazy the immigration. There's no way he thought that. But his amnesty wasn't the total beginning. It was the 1965 immigration bill. But definitely supercharged it. But I mean, Reagan did very good in terms of, like, oh, they say he ran up the debt. I mean, not really. I mean, they had ridiculous stagflation in the late 70s, and you look at what his economy did. It was no wonder he won re-election so easily. You have a really weird troll in here. Which one is it? I mean, normally if I have a troll, that's a constant thing. I mean, eventually they'll be banned, but normally I give them a pretty big leash. Trump slapped Carney in the face. God bless him. The two Canadian dollars. Yeah, no, it's again, they're gonna have to do that too. They're gonna have to compromise and get rid of that the technology, the tax on the technology or whatever it is. They're gonna get rid of it. I mean, you know, because Canada cannot afford this with the United States. They just can't. They're gonna lose. There's no way. Do you like his presidency overall? Well, I like the economic growth. I'd say that. Dude, it's hard with presidents because I wasn't living when Reagan was president, and it's all retrospective shit. Like now, everything we know that happened, it's Nixon, the most underrated president. Have you seen the recent stuff about Nixon, the Tucker Carlson stuff that he did, where they said he was set up? I mean, yeah, Nixon was extremely popular. And it's like, how big are scandals actually? I feel like scandals were any little thing a president did was so much more bigger back in like the 60s or 70s because there wasn't social media. But now with social media, it's almost like everything that happens is documented. So things are not as big, if that makes sense, because it's all already there. But when there's a scandal on the president and there's Watergate, it's like the biggest thing ever. But yeah, people said he got a raw deal. Let the 18-year-olds vote. You actually like having these socialist, communist, Democrat enclaves. Voters that show stark differences between parties. New York or Florida. New York City or Columbus. San Francisco or Austin. Are you asking me to rank them, or are you asking me to which city is better? But listen, with the 18-year-olds, the problem is if more younger people vote, it's you know, they are going to be liberal, but it is what it is. I mean, I know everyone wants to change the voting one way or another to benefit their side. I mean, liberals say that should be lowered to 16. It's a joke. Check the New York mayor from GOP video. I don't know what that means. You thought younger people were leaning right. That's why Trump crushed the 18 to 24. Did he crush it? I don't think he did. I mean, I think definitely he won more than previous conservatives had. Certainly younger people are going more right wing, but still, liberals had such a massive advantage. Does it really? I don't think Trump won him outright. Thoughts on Ben Shapiro? I think Shapiro's kind of spiraled, but that's kind of the he's just less relevant now. The war with Israel and Palestine, and he's extremely pro-Israel, which I understand. He's Jewish, but it's one of those things to where, if push comes to shove, it seems like there's more of an allegiance to Israel. So I don't really listen to him. I mean, some of the stuff with the trans and there's conservative stuff he talks about, which is fine. But he seems to have lost some of his luster, Shapiro, with the Israel stuff and the war. Yeah, it might have exposed a lot, a certain amount of people that war happening for sure. Trump made gains with everyone, not only young people. I don't think so. With boomers, I think he actually lost a little bit. Which, I mean, it's whatever. If there's one demographic you'd want to gain with, it's young people for sure, because they're going to be a massive voter block for a while. But I mean, people go through life, they become more conservative. That's normally how it is. Shapiro is weird as Walsh. His face is plastic, articulating obvious things to read. Yeah, I mean, but that's the business model, That's the culture war business model. But I mean, push comes to shove, it does seem like he's more pro-Israel than pro-America, which is that's the problem. And just in general, just thoughts on Shapiro's sister. Yeah, someone mentioned her in another stream. I don't even think I've seen her. MTG clip. What is it? MTG saying she's America first. I think I've seen this.
You cannot make me not love. I love him. I think he's great, and I support him, and I think he did a great job. I think it was incredible that our military was so well trained, the strikes that they made, and then President Trump said enough, and he backed out of it. No other president would have done that. And the Congress is upset that he backed out. And Mark Levin's head is going to explode.
Well, actually,
on his
I have
show.
the quote, and I hate to beat up on Mark Levin. He's got enough problems, obviously. But so the moment the ceasefire happened, he said this: "I hate this word ceasefire. I really do." So how could, I mean, that's so, I do think it, your worldview, what you're like as a person, what you love, what you hate, like that, it is important. And if you hate the word ceasefire, I hate the word like dead children or killing, but ceasefire, that's the word you hate? Haven't you? I mean, wow, that's right. A heavy thing to say.
Yeah, well, he hates it. I mean, he wants the regime to be gone. So they're not going to, the Zionists are not going to be happy with the ceasefire, most of them at least, because they want the regime gone. And that's why the war is probably not over there. Watching 40-year-old Shapiro and 32-year-old Charlie Kirk debate 17 to 20-year-olds is lame. Well, that's a business model, especially with Kirk. And Kirk is a bit younger. I think Kirk's like about 30, so maybe it's a little bit less weird when he does it. But yeah, I mean, I guess there are some funny moments from it. Those are not really my cup of tea videos. But I really, it is what it is. It's just it's just that's what gets serious views. With all the NATO spending up to 5%, GDP, wonder if we'll be able to spend less, 40% less, huge Trump win. Are you talking about U.S. military spending? If that's what you're talking about, no, it's not going to be less. They've already got the big, beautiful bill. They've got the spending raised on it pretty significantly by about $150 billion from what I saw. And I didn't want it to be raised, but they're raising it. They're trying to pay for that Golden Dome. And then just other upgrades, I'm sure. You like Walsh? Not really, honestly.
Hey.
Yeah, so Mark Levin that is attacking you every hour on his X account and attacking me and calling me names. And Fox News is tolerating that, by the way.
Of course.
Which is, I think, atrocious and pathetic. Any other company, by the way, any other company would never allow their employees to go on their own personal social media and like verbally berate and attack and call names to people. That's a fireable offense in the real world and in the private sector. No company allows their employees to do that. Fox News is allowing Mark Levin.
Well, you can't fire Mark Levin. He's got such a huge audience. Oh, wait, no. Nobody voluntarily watches Mark Levin, of course.
I don't know anybody that watches Mark Levin. I'm sure someone watches it, but, you know.
Yeah, this wasn't even the clip I was looking for. Members of Congress are essentially forced to pledge loyalty to Israel.
Since I've become a member of Congress since 2021, we have voted on 22 resolutions for Israel, 22 of them. All kinds of resolutions, you know, denouncing anti-Semitism, supporting Israel. We voted on 22 of those. We never vote on resolutions proclaiming great things about America or defending certain Americans or defending Americans in general. But we have voted on 22 resolutions in the House defending Israel.
How many of you voted yes on?
I don't know my exact record. The last one I voted no on, and then the one before that I voted present because I just started getting sick of it.
Well, that's kind of it. I mean, I've always noticed this, certainly in the last, I don't know how many years it's been, a while, where Republicans in the Congress are, always talking about Israel. I'm not against Israel. I've always liked Israel, so I haven't really noticed it. Okay, fine. Love Israel, love any country, whatever. But it feels like something has changed. Like why? And clearly it has for you. What is that thing?
Well, I think here's the situation. It's coming to a point where it's so obvious all the time in everyone's language, the social media posts they put out, the statements that they make. They have to proclaim Israel. They have to proclaim their faith.
Walsh is cringe, dude. He tries to act like he's the ultimate alpha. Well, Walsh has shifted more right-wing recently, you can tell. But yeah, I mean, Walsh was always kind of he's an awkward person. He really is. I had been saying that for months, but... How long has Tucker been in media? A while. I remember seeing video of Tucker back like the late 90s, I think. You're not against the recent bombings? You think they had nukes? That said, you think Israel... I mean, you think they have nukes based on what intelligence, though? I mean, I guess nobody really knows. But, I mean, they did have facilities for sure. It's just hard to say they had nukes. But either way, it's like, I guess, as a deterrent, but... Michael Knowles. Yeah, I've watched a few of Michael Knowles' stuff. More like religious type, I feel like, with Knowles. He was like doing a TMZ interview. These TMZ guys are like crazy liberal. It was kind of annoying to watch. Here it is. Record high. This is before rate cuts. This is great stuff. This is set up in a great way. And we even dealt with the turmoil with the little Middle Eastern situation and the crude oil, but now the crude oil is back down. Where is the fuck, that's not on there. Yeah, I think this kid is I think this kid was just trying to get a viral moment.
Pin. I'm sorry that I have anxiety. Okay, and honestly, yeah, it is kind of the fault of people like you that want to come up here and bully and berate me over something that I don't do. Okay, so cut the shit. It's not a vape. All right, it's an anxiety pin, and God, the pin. I'm sorry that I have anxiety.
I mean, what even is the difference between a vape and an anxiety? I don't even know. But I think this was fake. You can tell it's faking it. You watch Asmongold? No, I don't. I mean, I see some of his clips though on X. His clips pop up sometimes. But I haven't had Twitch in years. That's the thing.
Do you think that this person is a patriot or a traitor?
That dude's a fat.
Why do you say that?
I mean, just look at him. He's a communist. This guy wants government-owned grocery stores. If you support government-owned grocery stores, then you're a fucking retard. Tell me.
It's commie stores. This just goes to show you that you can't panic about foreign policy when at the end of the day, it's about the economy and if it will affect the economy. Well, I mean, I agree 100%. The economy is always number one in terms of just the mechanism. You know, the economy turns the approval rating. And I think the approval rating is going to be great. I mean, it's hard to say because of the geopolitical stuff and there's some other stuff, but the economy is set up in such an amazing spot right now. As long as the crude oil stays down. I mean, that was a thing that really could have affected it negatively, unfortunately. But I mean, unfortunately it didn't because the situation was worked out quickly. I don't know, man. The Israel-Iran thing was weird. People are saying both the countries wanted to ceasefire, and because Iran had hit Israel pretty hard, and Israel was trying to keep it a secret. They hit them with hypersonic missiles into their capital, so I mean, what do you mean? You always put that on there. Mass deportations, drill baby drill, Epstein list, arrests, cheap groceries, end wars, balanced budget. Well, I mean, I think to a degree, the end wars, we'll see. Balanced budget. Balanced budget is a tough one. It's a tough one with this new bill. But it depends how much they make off tariffs. The Epstein list, they're going to have to say something about the Epstein list, I think, at some point. Although, who knows? The mass deportations are a work in progress. But they got a lot of deportations via self-deportations. Yeah, China is kicking our ass with renewable energy. This dude didn't want to go to the friggin' Utah Jazz. Oh, now I guess he's going. Did you see Trump randomly end the war? Yeah, the African war. It was reported that was going to be ended. Was it Uganda? I thought it was Rwanda. Most pull-ups in 24-hour period. Dude, how many... How many calories do you lose doing that? You got to be eating something. S&P 500 record high.
Hi, sir. Are you doing okay? Yeah. A bold new strategy targeting the homeless crisis across Los Angeles. You want some water? No, I have water. Here's a poncho. You want it for later? Oh, Fox 11 on the street exclusively with Santa Monica business owner John Alley.
I'll drop this off with you. It has a number that you can call if you ever want to reunify with your family or hometown.
Handing out flyers to those with suitcases and sleeping bags.
Our group pays for that. No questions asked.
Offering to buy the homeless one-way flights out of town.
I'll leave this here with a phone number. If you want a free plane ride, we just need to know that where you're going, there'll be somebody there that will help you.
John is fed up.
We're going to become like the south side of Chicago.
Despite billions of dollars spent across LA County for the homeless, he believes more and more people are living on the street.
What we're seeing now is no accountability, and there's no results. It's paid for.
So far in the first week of this effort,
it's a reunification.
Two people living in Venice have seen the flyers and called, hoping to be flown to Seattle, where family is.
You might be better off.
I mean, that's how bad the homeless has gotten. There's people going around with like independent groups offering to fly the people back to their hometowns. Robert, thank you for that. After North Korea shot down a U.S. aircraft in 1969, allegedly Nixon ordered to nuke them while drunk. Kissinger canceled. Just wait until he sobered up.
Without the tariffs, I mean, they also liked a thing called November 5th, November 6th, and November 7th. That was a very good little period of time. It's called the presidential election. You know, you used to have one-day election. Now you have it go over it. But even if you just took that little period, because it was pretty obvious it was going to be a landslide. And they like that, but they love the tariffs. I had Texas Instruments come in the other day, big company, and he said, we're putting in $60 billion into new plants and new equipment, new everything. Sir, you're going to keep the tariffs, aren't you? Because if I ever took the tariffs off, and we are going to absolutely keep it. And they're worried that somebody that, like this communist from New York, someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York. But the rest of the country is...
No, he is a communist because he's admitted it. And especially when you would say you're like a heavy socialist. I mean, if you say you're a heavy socialist in the United States, that's basically you're saying you're a communist. But they can't say it because it makes you politically unelectable. Texas Instruments TI-84. Yeah, I remember that. We had to get a TI-84 Plus when I was in high school or some shit. I don't even think those can't be needed anymore. But we had to get that calculator. Joe Rogan versus Liver King. Yeah, I don't know when that fight is happening. When is that fight happening? When is Joe Rogan going to fight Liver King? Is that happening soon at all? Now Liver King has an ankle bracelet on. He's harassing Rogan. He's doing videos about him.
Democrat governors let violence fester until finally.
Gavin Newsom sues. Yeah, you should see Gavin Newsom's tweet. He's such a bitch. Those calculators are still required in high school. That's hilarious. They got to deal with TI. They got to deal with Texas Instruments. That's the revenue stream is from, the forcing the kids to buy them. Did Rogan actually agree to the fight? I don't think he agreed to it yet. I know Rogan basically said on his podcast that Liver King is on a bunch of steroids and he's fake and he's not tough. And then Liver King said, all right, come fight me then. And I think we're waiting to see if Rogan will fight him. I mean, Liver King is on some serious drugs, they say. I don't know. can't balance the budget because they already raised it. That's actually not true. The bill hasn't been voted on yet, and that's not correct. Do you understand how the calculations are based off of that bill? They're basing it off of like a 1.7, 1.8% growth rate, but we're going to have a much higher growth rate because of revenue, because of the tax cuts. I mean, this is the biggest tax cut on the middle class, so we don't really know if it's going to be balanced the budget or not. But I mean, if we're taking in $300 billion in tariffs, I mean, is that good enough? If we take in $300 billion a year in tariffs, that cuts the budget. If we get lower interest rates, that's lower interest payments. That's going to help lower payments on the debt. So there's a lot they're doing where you can kind of classify it actually as balancing it. But I mean, listen, we'll see. I said they shouldn't have done the military increase, but yeah, no, I think that's going to be good if that is true. I don't know if it is true, but that's the Social Network. But I mean, this is just desperation at this point for the industry, for the movie industry, because it's like, does there really need to be another one? Or you're gonna do a movie based on a hearing, a Facebook hearing? I mean, it's probably still gonna be good than most other stuff because Eisenberg was so good as Zuckerberg. Yeah, it's gonna be based off the Zuckerberg hearing. Liver King is 47. Well, I mean, yeah, when you do steroids like that, it's gonna age you pretty badly. What does it mean, bomb Iran again? Sounds like clickbait. No, it's not. Trump said it in a. I went over it. I mean, Trump did say he might have to if Iran doesn't stop enriching uranium. Trump did say that today. It's going to be based off the 2020 election too. How do you pull that into a movie though? How do you pull a U.S. election, a modern U.S. election, into a movie? Why is everyone freaking out about Mandani? Most people have no clue who their mayor is. Mayors have zero power. It's because he's openly a socialist. I mean, I understand what you're saying. A lot of his stuff is going to be heavily neutered, whatever he wants to try and attempt to do. But the dude is very radical left, so you can understand why people would kind of. I mean, it was a big reaction. I didn't know it was going to be that big of a reaction, but you can kind of understand why. Did you just say Trump threatened ground troops? No, he didn't threaten ground troops. He threatened to bomb them again. Isn't Mondani from a rich family? Well, he's from Uganda. I don't know about his background on how rich his family is. But with those types, it wouldn't surprise me. That's the common thing with the heavy socialist influencers and and then they try and take advantage of capitalism. How do people become extremely rich to be able to tax? Because that's what they'll always say. They'll say, well, these people make so much money, it's fair to tax them at 70%, 80%. Well, they made all that money. How were they able to encompass all that money? It's from capitalism. Both of Trump's Yeah, I mean, Trump, like a Trump movie on an election kind of seems like it would be, I don't know. To me, I like when it's just too soon for something like that. I don't think it would work really well. You were hoping crypto would be a bit more optimistic right now. What in yeah, the price action, especially the alts. The alts got to start doing something, man. Seriously. I mean, to me, it's the fundamentally it's set up well with the rate cuts coming. With the, I mean, fundamentally, the 4-year cycle it should play out in terms of Bitcoin going to maybe 150 and then the alt season. But alts have gotten just beaten. But I mean, Ethereum technically made a comeback a little bit over like the past month. It's going to be Newsom versus Vance 2028 if libs win, we're fucked. Yeah, I do think Newsom is the favorite right now. But I mean, dude, being the favorite in 2025 is kind of irrelevant. But he does have name recognition, to be fair. He does have serious name recognition. Can you do a stream with Asmongold? I'm not famous enough for that. XRP. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an XRP. I was never an XRP. I mean, XRP's got a ridiculously high market cap. Could it do maybe another 5 or 6x, I guess? I mean, I guess XRP would be maybe a better, although I'm not going to say that because people love BTC, but just in terms of a percent gain, XRP has higher upside. But BTC is the gold standard, literally. When did you get out of Dark Mega? It would have been after the election. Maybe after the election and before the inauguration. I don't remember exactly. Sometime around, maybe sometime at the start of 2020, 2025. Who was the best fries? You know, I recently had McDonald's a few weeks ago for the first time in a while. I thought their fries were kind of subpar now that I remember it. Chick-fil-A has good fries. Five Guys has really good fries. There's got to be something to the fry. I mean, if the fry is really small, it's like the smaller fries I'm not a big fan of when they're just sticks. Technically, those are like the purest form of French fries, though. But I mean, Five Guys does have really good fries. They've You think that Trump and Melania ruined crypto and Portnoy? No, I agree with you 100%. They really, but I mean, it's overcoming it. It's overcoming it. But yeah, Trump did suck it, and then Melania just destroyed everything, 100%. The alts got destroyed. You know, Bitcoin can easily survive something like that, but the alts can't, especially the lower cap alts. You don't like Uber? Well, Uber is a little bit different than DoorDash. I don't like any of the delivery services, honestly, unless it's like something that I mean, if it's not a drink, I guess I'd be okay with a delivery service because they have the covering on it. But you worried about Disney copyright? Is that why you won't play the clip? What, the clip of Mondani dancing? Well, I mean, they could copyright it. The thing is with my streams, about 10% of them end up getting copyrighted because, you know, you play stuff. I mean, not that it matters too much. Most of the money that I make comes from revenue in the donations. So if it gets copyrighted, it's not a big deal, I guess. conflict in North Korea was being referenced by the reporter. I don't know. I'd have to see the context of what the reporter was saying. I saw that Social Security payments plunged, biggest drop since 1970. Well, we need some relief. We need to refill that the trust fund. It's never going to get refilled though. Not the semen on your drink. Well, that was just me being exaggeratory. Man, I know I'm not going to use that word again. Exaggeratory. That actually, I think, is a word. I mean, it's legit. But it's just not necessary. Did he got some of the feds? Yeah, I saw that. I saw he got some of his charges dropped. I saw it on Polymarket. It was like they said they were going to be dropped. I don't know if that's true or not. 65% chance. It was at 70. I mean, there's no money in this market, so it's not going to be too accurate. So your channel update, don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm hard on myself. I don't think that. Buy menu on ETH. I'm not familiar. Not familiar with the coin. Your one friend who works in Fordo says Fordo was the most exceptional nuclear site in the world. Do you know any information on the damage at Fordo if he actually worked there? Your channel update video went way better than you originally thought. Well, I mean, what did you think I was going to say? What bugs were attacking you during the channel update? It was like mosquitoes. I mean, the thing is when you record it at like 9:30, it becomes an issue. And I guess it was really bad quality towards the end because of how dark it was. I should have recorded it earlier. But the thing is when I wanted to do it in a better place than inside just because I wanted to do it like with a better backdrop, but it just wasn't focusing well. The lighting was bad. One coin you recommend? I'd say NASDAQ 420. You meant views? Those types of videos usually don't get a lot. What channel update videos? Yeah, the reason is because... I don't know. Just because I was in front of a camera actually for once. So people probably wanted to see it. I don't know. Yeah, I was getting hit hard by mosquitoes. I actually don't have any real bites. I'm surprised because there was immediately a red spot. I was like, I'm gonna get because I've had 2 bites show up on me. I don't know when it happened, but I was already getting bit before that, and then I was like, yeah, guys, like the stream. Honestly, I'm not even sure a little bit late to be doing that, but I need to start saying to like the stream earlier in the stream, like at the beginning of it. Which country, state would you want to visit? I mean, somewhere within Europe. I'd have to do research. Probably somewhere within Europe in terms of country. um, specific state. I mean, you got to go to Texas, I would say. Texas, I should probably go to at some point. I've been to a decent amount of like the major states. Your friend worked above ground. He didn't access the underground facilities. It's so secret even around. Well, I would imagine it's very secret, 100%. I mean, that's where they keep their stockpile. They keep a massive stockpile of uranium down there. You know, they probably moved it out. They probably moved a lot of it out, I would guess. But, you know, the thing is with them, the United States bombed different, different factories. Baby oil pumping hard. Well, I mean, maybe because of the trial. Maybe because of the trial. Ever been to Florida? Definitely recommend coming here during the winter if you ever do decide to visit. Yeah, no. I went to Florida once when I was younger on vacation. It was during the summer. Yeah, Florida is they get really weird weather in Florida in the summer. But you guys have some humidity problems and very bipolar weather. You know, like rainstorm and then it'd be sunny the next minute. When I went to Florida, but I mean it's been a long time. Those trucks 2 days before were not carrying uranium. It's not. No. Trust me, dude. I said even before Trump said it, and I'm not saying I have the intel, but this is just what I read. I didn't say those trucks were carrying uranium. I said that they were covering up the entrance. That's why they were dump trucks. And I had said that they very likely moved whatever uranium they were going to move months before, you know, that attack, that strike on Fordo happened. They were already going to move it because they know Fordo was going to be hit. That specific bomb was intended for Fordo. You know, they got initial status reports on Fordo back in like 2009. So this has been a long thing for them, for the military to hit this specific site. But I never said that those trucks were carrying uranium. The trucks were likely covering up the ventilation shafts and covering up the entrance. Birthright citizenship, RIP. Well, we'll see. For temporarily, yeah, because they have executive order. But they'd have to reinterpret it for it to be officially gone. I think people, you know, we got to realize that. And that's a real big hurdle. What if the ceasefire between Iran and Israel is just to catch Iran off guard for Israel to kill the rest of their government? I mean, dude, they could have killed Khamenei. I mean, how long does Khamenei have left? They've got to be targeting him. I mean, right now, technically, there is a ceasefire, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see it lasting. It's very hard to see that ceasefire lasting very long. I mean, hopefully it does, but you got to think Iran still has enriched uranium. The question is whether or not they have the facilities to be able to actually produce the bomb. But I mean, obviously, they're going to try and go for it for sure. What sources are claiming the centrifuges? Yeah, no, dude. I was reading and I saw a video of military and personnel. They were like the Fordo centrifuges have been just destroyed completely. So that's good news if, you know, they've been annihilated. That's the recent intel that I saw yesterday. Because they wanted to make sure everybody knew that because of the, the CNN report that came out that said that they didn't do too much damage. Why is Shank Yogurt supporting Massey? Well, you know, he's because Massey's very anti-Israel. Couldn't Iran buy a nuke from Russia, China, or North Korea if they really wanted to? Yeah, but then those countries, I mean, you think those countries would be on good footing with the United States? They would be a very hostile situation, undermining the United States like that if they want to sell them a nuke. I mean, is it really worth it for them to give Iran a nuke? I mean, it's just, geopolitically, it would be dumb. The ex-president of Iran was killed with his family by Israel during the bombings. Crazy he came to speak at South Carolina University when you were in school. Wow. Do you think the Tic Tac UFO? Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a huge thing. Rogan would always talk about the Tic Tac when he'd have those guys on, where they exposed the tech of it. But yeah, they always say it's a tech that we can't create. I don't know. It probably is. I mean, think about how long they've had the B-2 bombers for. I mean, they're way ahead in terms of tech, but it's hidden from us. Ayatollah saying he wrecked the U.S. is hilarious. I mean, they kind of have to say that. It was such a dinky response. They're going to try and win their information war with their people. Grok 4 is going to be... Yeah, let me see that. You know what? I should have bought that coin. It's unfortunate. The Grok 4 coin. I remember seeing that. It's probably at 500K. Oh, it's at 200K. Oh, this is a newer one. This is not the one. It did go to 500K. So was there even a three? I don't even think there was a 3.5. They just went to 4. B-2 bombers were probably being developed at the same time as space shuttle. Yeah, I mean, based on the timeline of, when they develop tech versus when they disclose of it actually existing, there's a big delay. The Germans did have very good technology themselves in the 30s and 40s. The beach resort. Grok 4 the dip. It's not worth it now. When R2 Deep Seek. Yeah, they delayed it. They delayed R2. They said they didn't have the semiconductors. They didn't get any semiconductors from NVIDIA. So they delayed their next release. Deep Seek did. You think the big beautiful bill will pass? I mean, it depends how much they've changed on it. It really just depends, because I know they're trying to change certain things in the Senate right now. So if they're able to change things and get enough senators on board, I mean, they're trying to balance all of that right now. That beach resort looks beautiful. That looks like something you would see at a rec center. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's apparently it's a massive resort. Cooper Flag overrated or future superstar? I think he'll be really solid. I don't know if he'll be a superstar though, but he'll definitely be an all-star. Cooper Flag. The NBA really needs him to be something special. Yeah, not the beach photo again. The beach maybe the beach photo in North Korea. Maybe he can go to North Korea and have a beach photo. Movie theater goon sesh photos coming soon. There were no photos, man. There's no photos of that. That's not even. It's. Do you think if Iran had a nuke, they'd be dumb enough to attack the United States, or they would just make threat? No, they would make threats 100%. Their country would be destroyed if they tried to use it on the United. No, there's no way. You know, that's just fear mongering for us to attack them, saying they're gonna bomb us with a nuke. You know, it's basically you North Korea, you create a nuke and tell everyone to fuck off. You know, but even I'm skeptical on North Korea's tech and how good their nukes are. They have a lot of failed launches but really it's just deterrence. Thoughts on Passport Bros? Dude, I do get this. I've gotten this question like several times. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to go to a different country. I mean, I understand women in the United States. It's really bad. Trust me, I get it. You know, they overvalue themselves mainly, in part because of the dating apps, feminism. I understand it's bad. But it's bad when you've got dudes going to other countries. And it's like, this is just not an ideal situation. But going to another country, it never really, like, I get it because the culture's different and the women are more traditional. Obama gave Iran billions of dollars. Well, it was part of the reason people say that is because it was part of the nuclear deal. It was part to ease sanctions. They could only enrich to 3%, so they couldn't produce a nuclear bomb, but they'd get sanction relief. And there was like a fund they got access to. Those relationships don't really work. Yeah, I have a hard time really believing those relationships have a ton of success. But I don't know. I don't know the statistics on them. Annexing Greenland is taking forever. It's a diplomatic mess. The European countries don't want it to happen. So, we'd love to just buy it straight from Denmark, honestly, at this point. But then you have to worry about the issue is if we just bought it straight from Denmark, the relationship Denmark has with Greenland is kind of flimsy because they got like temporary autonomy in 2009, Greenland did. So it's like, even if you did that, we have to get the people of Greenland on board, I think, to a degree. Although, I don't know, maybe not. You just take it over. When you get to 300K views, you have to do 300 push-ups. You mean 300K subscribers? 300 push-ups is brutal, man. There's no way I could do 300. It'd take me a while to do that. Even come close to that. I'd be sore after probably 50. Is Tesla finishes coming? No. I don't know. Is their stock down? I know people have been bitching about their stock. No. They're not. About 480 down to 323. I mean, there's a turbulent time here, but no. "24-hour stream. What makes Greenland of value to U.S.? I mean, I've done a lot of videos on it. Strategic importance, Arctic control. I mean, in 2 words, Arctic control. Ever seen Shane Gillis' podcast where he discusses every U.S. president with Louis C.K.? It's fantastic. Feel like you would really enjoy it. No, I haven't seen it. I used to hear Gillis a lot when he would do the Rogan podcast. We want your resources. We love you. The Black Hawk stealth helicopter. Ugh. Who would be better, Adams or the Republican? What in terms of, I mean, Adams now is basically a Republican. I mean, Adams needs serious help from Trump, I think, to stay out of legal troubles. So Adams is basically an acting, especially in New York City terms, he's basically acting as a Republican. The issue is, you know, if the actual Republican doesn't drop out, they're going to just take votes off of each other, and then Mondani will probably win with like 40% or some shit, or 45%. So that's the problem. So that's why people want him to drop out, so Adams has more of a chance as an independent. I mean, Adams would take he would take the black vote for sure. He'd take the Hispanic vote, I would imagine, as well. Who's the most OG follower commenting on your stream? It was probably RB, but I don't think he's in the streams anymore. He was like back in college football, back like 2 years ago. Could the Soviet Union win World War II without U.S. support? It has been heavily debated in recent years. So with no U.S. support at all in terms of funding, I don't think it's possible for the Soviet Union to win. They got enormous support from the United. Because the thing is, you know, they got huge funding packages with the Lenin lease, and then on top of that, it creates a two-front war. I mean, the other thing is, it's like, you know, the United States landing in Normandy, that was really the two fronts became a thing. I mean, I think it'd be very hard. I mean, the Germans had their own issues. They had supply issues with oil, lack of it. But I mean, there was so much the United States did. But I mean, that becomes the thing to where it's like, well, does the U.S. get more credit than the Soviet Union? The Soviet Union lost so many more soldiers. Spectacular, you're a few years, I think, honestly, like 2023 maybe. You've been watching me for 2 years. I appreciate it, man. The way Trump manipulated us into thinking he was distracting. Oh, he was distancing himself from Israel really makes you rethink his feud with Musk. Yeah, that to me, that feud is just Musk is really, really weird, and he's on heavy drugs at the time, and Musk is all over the place. I mean, we've seen the sporadic behavior before from Musk on the political stage. You know, we saw it back with the H-1Bs, where he goes really hard and starts swearing at everyone. He's got some issues. Musk does. The Soviets won some key battles early on with nearly all American supplied equipment. Well, the U.S. spent more on the war than the Soviet Union did. I mean, so it shows you how crazy, you know, the funding apparatus was. Obviously, we did have our own funds to deal with in terms of Japan, but you know what? Somebody did say they knew my old YouTube channel, which has long been deleted. I think it deleted it in 2020. So, but somebody did say that was a stream, you know, maybe a year ago or something. I don't remember. Musk seems incapable of controlling his outburst. Oh yeah, he's a loose cannon. He's a complete loose cannon. Oh, Japan had a crazy empire going. They had so much. They like controlled so much airspace within the Pacific. It's remarkable. If you look at their total airspace control over water and the islands, it was a massive empire for a very short period of time because they conquered a bunch and then they lost. But I mean, they were conquering all these islands and shit. It's kind of easy to. Could there be a situation where Trump himself wants the Epstein files released, but is being stopped somehow, even though he's the president? Yeah, I mean, obviously the Epstein stuff is a lot more complicated than just Trump himself. There's a lot of people in it. And, you know, there's also a reaction. There's going to be a reaction if there's a number of big names. There's probably going to be a negative reaction from an, you know, economy sense. So do you really want that? But, I mean, the thing with Trump now is kind of like the cat's out of the bag. Obviously, if you don't release anything, you're in right now. Elon Musk called you out. Even if Elon wants to apologize for it, you know, and you don't release it, that's going to incriminate you. It was a vintage Musk crash out. No, yeah, that's pretty much what it was. You don't think you should be able to run for office unless you've been born in the United? Yeah, I mean that's to me that's an obvious thing. I tweeted that today, just because you know, you should have to be born in the U.S. to be able to run for, especially like, you know, New York City. That's a lot of people. That's an important. Even you want to say being the mayor is limited power, but it's an important role, and it reflects on the country too, with how big New York City is. Epstein files might be released in his lame duck period in 2028. Yeah, they could. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do during that lame duck period. I think that's when the Greenland situation could happen, but or maybe, you know, yeah, it'd be like right after Vance wins, hopefully. Yeah, technically, I was born in September of 1999, so yeah, it would be the 20th century. Red wine, gaming, relaxing to the stream, love it. That, are you a middle-aged woman? I'm just kidding, man. I appreciate it. Mark Mitchell at Rasmussen said fat people have contributed 10 trillion to the debt. Well, absolutely. I mean, think about it, you know, the health problems and stuff, and, you know, if they're on Medicaid, it's a big issue. Are you COD guy or GTA? I mean, it's tough to be GTA because there hasn't been a game in. No, I think GTA is fun. I like COD Zombies, but not anymore. It definitely would be GTA nowadays. I don't play any of the modern CODs at all. Dark Souls? No. I played a little Skyrim when I did. I think they made a Skyrim too, and it wasn't very good. But I played the original Skyrim. Maybe they didn't make Skyrim too. I don't know. Remember Assassin's Creed? That was like a big game that rivaled GTA. Favorite Mario game? I don't know, man. I played a lot of Mario Kart on a DS, Nintendo DS. That was when I was younger. What was the game with all the levels and the missions? The eight worlds it had. That was a fun game. Super Mario Bros. That's what it was, I think. Then they had one for the Wii, and the Wii was like a real upgraded version. They had all this different shit on the Wii in terms of trying to pass the levels. Ever play Need for Speed? Rivals? Loved the game on PS4. No, I played this crashing game on the original Xbox. I forget what it was called. It was like this crash after Burnout or something, maybe. It was a good. It was for the original Xbox. It was a good game, and you would crash. You would have a really fast car. You would crash it into like an intersection and try and destroy vehicles. Coolest U.S. military tech B2s are up there. The cream barges from World War II. Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to say B2s now, though, after seeing that. I mean, B2s are crazy. The Doritos. I mean, the coolest U.S. tech is it's unknown to us, that's for sure. But, I mean, of what's known. You know, China recently released their Mosquito drones. 5 months in and more wins than the entire Biden presidency. Well, certainly, I mean, obviously, with us being Republican, really, there's very little wins from Biden. I mean, getting out of Afghanistan is a win, but not in the way in which they did it. Getting out of Afghanistan was actually catastrophic for his administration. It's crazy how it totally turned after that for him. I mean, it was inevitable. He's just too old. Like, there's no way you could keep up a decent approval rating while not being able to. I mean, they hit him. They hit him. Does US have secret teleportation technology? I think that'd be really hard to. Teleportation seems like something that's a ways away. If it can be done at all. The Golden Dome will be godly US tech. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people criticize the Golden Dome, but I mean, realistically, the Golden Dome, you would think would be one of the things that we would actually invest into in terms of defense. That's the only thing we're susceptible to. Now, you can say, well, the hypersonic missiles, you can't really shoot them down. And, you know, Israel ran into that problem with the Iron Dome. They couldn't shoot down the hyper... Did they shoot down any hypersonic missiles? I know some of them got through. Feel like so much stuff is happening. We're only 5 months in. Is this the most eventful presidency ever? It's impossible to say because, I mean, you know, it's all a perspective thing. Most presidents I was never born for, so and also now we're more connected than we've ever been in terms of seeing updates and stuff. But Trump is he always makes news anyways, like no matter what. So there's always going to be news. There's literally no argument against investing in the Golden Dome. It's going to cost a lot. That's the argument against it. But I agree. It makes no sense. Like, you would think, even if it can help us shoot down even just one nuke or one heavy, missile or something. I mean, that's the only way we're susceptible. I mean, we have freaking oceans. Nobody's going to invade the United States. They're going to bomb us in a catastrophic situation. Do you think the U.S. has some massive unrealistic nukes twice the power of the? That's the Soviet bomb. Yeah, they tested that. That was crazy. What was that in the '60s? But yeah, I think we've got extremely powerful nukes that they don't need to be tested. We know they're gonna work. So I'm sure they're probably not disclosing a lot of the type of the potential of the nukes in terms of the blast radius and how powerful they are. But I mean, at a certain point, it's like, when is enough enough? You think the Rays end up moving? No, apparently they're not going to. Apparently they're being sold and they're staying in the Tampa area. They're moving to Tampa. Well, I mean, no, that's not, you can't call that move. Yeah, they're moving from St. Petersburg, but St. Petersburg to Tampa, that's barely a move. It's not a move. I mean, they're still going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. The plan was to build the dome and continually update it. Well, technically, it takes more than the initial investment. The initial investment is just to start the process, and that's $25 billion, but it's going to cost a lot more to fully complete, because defending a missile defense system of the United States it's a lot of area to spend. It's a lot of area to defend. It's like saying San Diego to LA isn't a move. No, because they're still gonna. Nah, dude. The thing is, they're still gonna be called the Tampa Bay Rays. So realistically, for most people, nothing changes, and they're still in the same area, and they're on the other side of the bridge. That's, you can't really classify that as a move. As much of a move as the Browns, yeah, basically. The Browns is not a move either. But I think the Browns is kind of just, it's a sad situation, the fact that they're moving out of the city. And Brook Park is like, it's really not built up at all. So they're going to have to build up pretty much everything. Especially that area, everything's going to have to be built up. Israel claims they shot down 94.5% of the missiles shot at them. Well, I mean, who knows if they're telling the truth on that. They've been really downplaying how bad the attacks were now because there's a ceasefire. More like the Cowboys moving from Dallas to Arlington. Yeah, and it's the same thing like the Browns going to Brook Park. You know, they're still the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it'd be like the Bears going to Arlington Heights as well. I think they will move to Arlington Heights, honestly. That's the recent news that I saw. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. Oh, we got one more donation. Me wants, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Your mom saw a UFO through a telescope in the 1970s, Czech Republic. She described it as a translucent shape like a diamond rotating over a dark colored one, similar to what was discussed in the UAP hearings. Yeah, there's a lot of people that claim that they saw it. I mean, you know, with the UFO stuff, there's so many people that claim it. It's hard not to take it seriously, and you would imagine that there has to be at least some of it's got to be real to a degree. There's just too much of it. I know people will say they'll lie and they'll say certain things about what they saw, but I don't even know what that was. It's like an ant or something. But yeah, no, I hear you. It is real stuff. No, I saw that about the icebreakers from Finland. Yeah, you know, they're getting ready for the Greenland annex, so they got to buy the icebreakers. They want more Arctic control. They're buying 15 icebreakers from Finland. All right, guys, I'll see ya.